Welcome, fellow Jurassic World enthusiasts. Now, during Jurassic World, we're introduced to the legendary raptor pack Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, where they have the legendary battle with the Indominus Rex, and we all know how that ends, with allegedly only one raptor survivor, Blue. But Blue may not be the only survivor of the raptor pack, as I have several pieces of evidence which actually prove another raptor survived, and this new evidence will potentially blow your mind. Now, you might be thinking, how is this even possible? We see the other raptors die on screen. Well, let me continue to explain and all will be revealed. Now, the original raptors were created as part of Project Ibris, which is short for Integrated Behavioral Raptor Intelligence Study. Woohoo! That was a mouthful. Which was a program to study the intelligence of velociraptors that began development in 2012. The raptors that were created as part of this program were kept in the raptor research arena on Isla Nublar, and Owen Grady was hired to train them. In 2013, Owen Grady recommended his friend Barry to Vic Hoskins after discovering the raptors pack dynamic was much more complicated than he and the other workers had thought. And by 2015, there was a pack of raptors consisting of Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo. There was another fifth raptor called Gamma, but I'm not going to talk about that raptor for this video, but you can find it on my channel elsewhere. These raptors had been trained to follow over 40 different commands. During the Isla Nublar incident of 2015, when Hoskins took control of Jurassic World after Simon Masrani's death, he got his wish to use the raptors for combat and use the current Velociraptor pack to hunt an escaped Indominus Rex. But the Velociraptors sided with the Indominus Rex and proceeded to kill several acid containment unit troopers, with Hoskins himself being killed just after the skirmish by Delta. The raptors themselves, however, though, had a bond with their original alpha, which was Owen Grady, and although initially siding with the Indominus Rex, decided to turn on their newfound alpha, the Indominus Rex, and side with Owen, and a vicious battle ensues. And thus we have the legendary battle between the Velociraptor pack and the Indominus Rex. Now, this is where things get really interesting, and you might be asking yourself, well, where was actual Charlie at this moment in time? Now, if you remember, the first actual confirmed death was Charlie by an anti-tank missile launcher, which was fired by an InGen soldier. That only leaves Blue, Delta, and Echo. Now, just before the fight all but kicks off, Blue gets attacked and hit into a massive wall with huge force from the Indominus Rex, essentially taking her out of the fight. This then leaves Delta and Echo to continue the fight. Delta is swiftly dispatched, however, with the Indominus Rex throws it into an open grill. This is a nod to Stan Winston because it's Winston's steakhouse grill which he's actually roasted in. This then leaves Echo and Blue as the only surviving Velociraptors. We know Blue survives at the very end, but what about Echo? Well, Echo is actually snatched up by the hybrid's jaws and thrown away. We then know Blue to make a miraculous comeback. She comes back to life, attacks the Indominus Rex. The Indominus Rex eventually gets defeated by the Mosasaurus and the T-Rex, and all is well at the end. But then you might be wondering, which other raptor survived? Because we clearly now see all three other raptors perish on screen. We don't see all the raptors perish on screen. We only see Delta and Charlie. Echo, we're assuming, dies off screen. But we have several pieces of evidence in the film and sources outside of the film which completely show otherwise. But before I get into that, you might be thinking there's a huge problem with this theory, because in 2018, Jurassic World's Fallen Kingdom comes along and all but confirms every member of the Raptor pack, apart from Blue, was killed. And the DPG website at the time confirmed that Blue was the last of her species. Now, before we take this as gospel, I would like to point out the fact that the DPG website is now basically considered soft canon and irrelevant, because it also said that the Spinosaurus was killed and didn't exist. That cropped up in Camp Cretaceous. It also said that the Blue was the last of her species, when we saw several other Velociraptor species on Manticore Island, all which are canon, by the way. And it also said that the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park in the freezer had died, and we know this isn't true because of Jurassic World Survivor. So with that out of the way, whatever the DPG website says, let's not take that as canon, because I have other sources coming up which totally disprove that Echo was killed. Now, before we go into all the main bits of evidence, let's look at the film itself. During that scene, we see the Indominus Rex pick up Echo and throw her away like she's nothing. But the bite itself, which she inflicts on Echo, doesn't look all that strong or destructive. To me, it almost looks like the way you'd see a crocodile pick up its young in its mouth and not inflict any damage at all. Although you could argue that you definitely see Echo go limp towards the end before she throws her, but the same thing happens with Blue, and look how she made a comeback. So the same could be said for Echo. Now, visually, during the movie, that's the last time we see Echo, although there are other bits of information I'll show you later showing Echo visually surviving the incident, but as for the movie, that's all we see. Now, as for sounds, there is a sound of another raptor being heard at the end after the Indominus Rex fight, where Blue suddenly turns left. we hear what seemingly sounds like a raptor call in the distance. Now, this A could be Echo calling out to a fellow raptor pack, or it could be Blue simply calling out to see if Echo is still alive. Either way, there is a raptor call. Personally, it sounds like Blue is just calling out as she's running off into the distance rather than it being Echo doing a vocalization, but we will never really know at this stage. But there are other bits of evidence I would like us to talk about now, which I believe all but cements the fact that another raptor was A, meant to survive or has survived. So take a look at this. Now, interestingly, in a storyboard of the Main Street fight, there are 2 raptors that are shown alive and watching the Indominus Rex nearly kill the T-Rex before he gets tag teamed and taken down by the Mosasaurus. This all but confirms that they did originally plan to have 2 Velociraptors on screen and survive the attack. But then if that raptor did survive, where is it now, you might be asking, because in 2018 we obviously do not see another raptor, and the same is said for Jurassic World Dominion in 2022. Well, I have a simple explanation as to what actually could have happened to Echo if she survived the original Jurassic World incident. Well, if you think back to Camp Cretaceous Season 4, they have Velociraptors on their islands, and the colour patterns themselves look awfully similar to Echo. Now, these raptors themselves are brand new in their take and canon, so they're obviously not Echo, but Manticorp could have easily have used Echo's DNA to create more and could quite easily have Echo on that island, because we know they did poach from Isla Nublar and they took the Spinosaurus from Isla Sorna, as well as other Tyrannosaurus Rexes, fauna and flora. So it is nowhere near as far-fetched as it may sound, especially with the fact that now they're going back and reintroducing dinosaurs we thought were extinct or killed. A big example is the dinosaur in the freezer from Jurassic Park, the Spinosaurus, which was presumed to have been killed by the DPG website and said died, but we see in Camp Cretaceous, and who knows what else we're going to see in Jurassic World Chaos Theory. And let's not forget, Biocen would have needed Velociraptor DNA to clone their Atrociraptors from somewhere. Is it possible that they could have taken Echo, because we know they were also poaching from Isla Nublar? Now, that section there is purely speculation based, but what isn't speculation based is the fact that in this original storyboard, they were meant to have 2 Velociraptors. The bite itself potentially wouldn't have killed Echo. We didn't see Echo being killed on screen, and you know the rule of movie and showbiz magic: if you don't see them die on screen, they can always come back. That's official movie magic for you right there. But before we go any further, I'd like to address the one massive elephant in the room with this entire theory and story, and that is the Indominus Rex. The Indominus Rex is said to have the most powerful bite force of any dinosaur out there, with a bite force capable of breaking through aluminium oxytride glass that is thick enough to stop a 50 cal bullet. The Indominus Rex, without question, is able to crush a human-sized animal with little to no effort, and the actual location she grabbed Echo, around the back of the spine and into where all the internal organs would be, such as the heart and the lungs, combined with the excessive bite force, it could have potentially instantly killed Echo. But if we are using that logic, we should then apply the same to Blue, which wouldn't be the case, especially with the way she hit that reinforced concrete pillar. So if we're applying that logic to Echo, we'd have to apply the same logic to Blue, which then wouldn't make sense for the movie. So that's why I haven't took that into consideration when creating this theory. Personally, I'd love to see Echo return, especially with Jurassic World Chaos Theory coming up and Jurassic World Survive. There's definitely room for her to appear in Chaos Theory, and then could make for intertwining stories for the future, especially after Dominion. It's hard to pick a right or wrong answer, but what do you think actually happened to Echo? Do you go with the fact she did die, or do you think she's still out there somewhere, something else going on? Let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories on this one. As always, I'd like to thank my YouTube members. Thanks guys, you're on screen now. And can I solve Jurassic World related theories? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.